Hello, friends, and welcome to the Love Soul Connection podcast, where we talk about sex, intimacy, everything that no one else talks about shame, guilt, sex education, sexuality, and so much more. So, today I'm going to speak about the youth. The maximum population of our country is youth. But today, let's delve into an interesting topic. It is fascinating as well as it is complex. The idea of revenge and how it plays out into the minds of today's youth. It is just not an emotional reaction, it is deeper, I think. So today, to discuss this a little bit more, I thought it would be good to invite a young coach. We have Kiran. She's a millennial life coach known for her fun, action oriented, and relatable approach to coaching. She helps a lot of millennials to navigate love, relationships, and life challenges with practical tools, NLP, and basically a no gyan style. She doesn't like to give gyan. Think of maybe actionable advice, with a sprinkle of little bit of humor and engagement, which makes it so much more interesting. So she's also a proud dog mom to Theo, and she loves making personal growth feel approachable and empowering. And I'm so happy to have her over here with us. So without further ado, let's welcome Jazz.
Hi,
Hey
Mita.
Jazz, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
Very well. So today we are
Super.
going to talk about the youth. Huh? I'm very excited to have this discussion with you.
Same here.
Okay, so Jazz, why don't you give us a little bit, introduction about what you do, how you do it?
Sure, Mita. So, as you greatly mentioned in my introduction, I am a millennial life coach, and I love working with this age group because that's who I am. I am myself a millennial. And as you said, the youth has today access to all form of data, all form of information, but at the same time, we are the generation which is most confused, be it
Yes.
choosing the career, be it choosing the right partner, finding your own life purpose. I think that was all the questions which were once something which had a really big impact on my life. And that's how I found my purpose, found my way in coaching. And that's what I do right now. I help other millennials figuring out their life, helping them in adulting so that it does not feel like an overwhelming activity, which it is. So yeah,
Hmm.
that's what I do. I also use NLP and positive psychology in my coaching because I truly believe ज्ञान सबके पास है, but आज की date में all we need to do is having the courage to actually take actions and maintain taking actions, consistency. So that's what
True,
I do.
true, true. So nice. I'm so glad that you are empowering youth because the perspective that you can bring on the table, I guess, people will connect with you. Youngsters will connect with you because you are also young and then you are sharing your life experiences. So that can be a
Absolutely,
lot.
Neetu.
So
Yeah.
today we are discussing this topic of revenge, right? These
Hmm.
youngsters, I guess, they tend to have this thing that, okay, now we are breaking off due to whatever reason it didn't work out. And so
Mhm.
now we want to have revenge of some kind.
Yeah.
So what goes on in their mind?
It's actually a very interesting phenomena, Mita, because the more I speak to people my age, the more people I coach, I realize that ये जो revenge लेने की feeling भी है ना, it actually starts very early in the relationship. It starts when one person starts to feel that, I am not an equal in this relationship.
Hmm.
And dhire dhire, with time, that resentment builds over to the point that the other person feels that, if this person leaves from my life, what I'm going to be needing, I'm going to be needing, some form of revenge from them. I have to get back to them. We are too impatient to wait for karma to do its work. So we
Hmm.
want to take back control. We want to do that revenge. And sometimes I think revenge also, sometimes it can go to healthy places. Sometimes people work on themselves. The revenge body is a great example. but at the
Hmm.
same time, it does not come from a healthy place a lot of the times. So
Yeah.
I think that's why it's really important. It's a very important as well as fun topic, and I'm happy that we are discussing in depth today.
A
Mm-hmm.
relationship which is over, isn't
Mm-hmm.
it better that you move on, you work towards your life? There's a reason why it broke. So,
Hmm.
uh, one important perspective is that you should learn to forgive and forget. Because if you don't
Absolutely.
forgive, then you are carrying that burden. The other person has left, the other person has gone, they are living their own life.
Yeah.
But you are carrying that burden within you. You are
Hmm.
replaying that whole story over and over and over and over again.
Right.
And that also impacts your other relationships in life, because somewhere you become so bitter with it.
Hmm.
You're always constantly thinking about that experience. You're always on this edge. Oh, again I might get hurt. And
Hmm.
instead, if you learn to forgive that person and
Hmm.
you move on, then you focus on yourself, because when you forgive, you are firstly relieving yourself of that burden which you're carrying in your head every day.
Right.
And then when you open your doors, your
Hmm.
door, the doors of your mind, your heart, again, by
Hmm.
learning from what you understood, why this relationship broke, what is it that you can do better in the next relationship,
Yeah.
that itself, I think, can make a lot of sense. What do you say?
Absolutely. Absolutely, Meeta. And I think while this is the healthy mindset approach, this is where growth mindset comes into play. I think what most of us feel stuck at is the point where we feel that we've been treated unfairly, right? So
Hmm.
people who get cheated on, people who get to know, secrets about their partners after having been in a relationship committed for a long time. I think
Hmm.
that's where the sense of injustice comes into play, and that's where people feel that, okay, I need to step out of this relationship and I need to come back and play a revenge here.
So, what do you think they should do, according to you, as a young millennial yourself? What would
Hmm.
you say that what is a better way to look at it? Of course, they did get hurt, which I understand. You do get hurt in a relationship. If you're
Absolutely.
emotionally involved, you are bound to feel that hurt. Sometimes it's a lot, sometimes it's a little bit less, maybe. Sometimes you learn to, okay, let go, move on. Sometimes you really stick on to it. There are even people, who I know, who fell in love and then they have stuck to that story all their life,
Hmm.
and not, even though they did, marry later on or whatever, but they could
Hmm.
never really love their partner, or
Hmm.
they never had that kind of a bond, because they kept the doors of their heart so close, so tightly
Hmm.
shut, that
Hmm.
it just never opened for another
Yeah.
person.
Right. And I totally relate to that, Nita. I think as adults, I think we've all had that one serious heartbreak. Just ke baad, the the life becomes black and white for a while, right? And
True.
I think my understanding is that it's really really important for us to have a little bit compassion for our own self, right?
Yes.
Once the relationship is done, be it आपने breakup किया हो सामने वाले ने breakup किया, or be it the situation, I think it's
Hmm.
okay for us to realize that yes, I am wounded and I will need some time to heal and come back, right?
Yeah.
This desire to just get back to life, get back into another relationship, this
Hmm.
pressure of coming back and getting married as soon as you can, especially in your late 20s and 30s. I think this is where situations go wrong because you do enter a relationship, but that love is still somewhere lost in the background.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
True. So I'm just wondering, you mentioned two things. One is, you said they want to get married immediately as soon as they get out of a relationship.
Hmm.
And you said that they want to bounce back, or they immediately want to jump into another relationship.
Yeah.
What are the other things that come to their mind, during this thing,
Yeah.
during this
So
phase?
right. So, Meeta, as I said, working with millennials, I see a pattern here, right? As soon
Okay.
as you are somewhere in your late 20s, there is of course the chatter around the house, right? your parents expect you to get married at a reasonable age, right? Your career is not made yet, but of course you're heading and progressing towards your career.
Hmm.
So all of these responsibilities and this constant desire, as well as pressure from your family, from society, that you know what, ab aap bade ho gaye ho, you need to settle down, right?
Hmm.
And in this crucial time, if you are in a relationship which does not go your way and you're
Yeah.
left alone or something bad happens and you're heartbroken, this, I would say, this becomes like a lifeboat for some people, that you know what, let me pick the right next person, whoever comes along, be it right or wrong, maybe they will help me heal, right? And this is
Hmm.
something that I was listening to your podcast. This is something which you have greatly talked about, that external healing can never be actually, the real healing you can get,
Yeah.
because
It
those
doesn't
are
help.
the wounds, right? Those are the wounds that you are carrying. And that's the reason why people who rush into marriages or people who get pressured into getting married, they often end up in divorces. In India, it's now becoming a trend. A lot of people who get married either by the society pressure, parents' pressure, or the age pressure in a lot of cases, they do
Hmm.
not end up in happy marriages. They end up separating, they end up being in bad marriages, toxic relationships. And that's
True.
the trend that we're seeing, right? Because it feels like once somebody leaves, there is this hole that you want to fill. And rather than being present with yourself, with your pain, you try to get a band aid for it,
Yeah.
right? And
That's
that band aid does not stick for a long time, of course.
It doesn't. I would like to share a personal experience here. I was very young, and I think my first crush, you
Mm-hmm.
can say love at first sight. It wasn't love at first sight, but okay, I fell in love with someone.
Mm-hmm.
And he loved someone else, which I slowly realized, talking to him. At that time, of course, I was very young. So,
Mm-hmm.
it did feel a lot of, pain and all of that. But no,
Mm-hmm.
this feeling of revenge did not come into my mind because I think we were very naive at that time. And so I just moved on. I was very good at studies. So I diverted my energy there.
Mm-hmm.
I would just focus on, the books. I would sit with all the books and I would finish the whole textbook even before the next, term started. So I started doing that with,
Mm-hmm.
that energy which was maybe overflowing and, which was not finding some way out, that hurt which was there. So
Mm-hmm.
that is something which I did. And what
Mm-hmm.
I would say to the millennials is that instead of rushing into a relationship, first heal.
Right.
Heal. Healing means that you will never be completely out of that pain, maybe, because every relationship does leave a scar on our minds and our hearts.
Right.
But you still learn to forgive yourself also. Because a lot
Hmm.
of times I also see the youth will say, I must have done something wrong. This is why
Hmm.
that happened.
Right.
I maybe did not, do right. Maybe I don't look good. Maybe it is
Hmm.
my body. That is why he rejected me. Maybe
Hmm.
it is my parents, they are interfering. So a
Hmm.
lot of times this blame happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you mentioned that you should have a little bit of compassion for yourself. So you
Absolutely.
need to be kind with yourself and you need to heal. Healing
Right.
means you can divert your energy into, something that you love to do. You can
Hmm.
go travel, you can meditate, you can, take up some course where your mind gets diverted. You can focus on your studies because the youth is all, studying, working towards their career, learning something or the other. You could learn a new skill, do something like that, which will be more helpful. And then
Absolutely.
when you are in a more clear, positive frame of mind,
Hmm.
that is when you think of another relationship. It could be
Hmm.
marriage, it could be someone else that you might come across,
Yeah.
but you do it at that point. First,
Right.
healing is important because if you don't heal, then you carry that anger, anxiety, feeling of revenge,
Yeah.
resentment all through your life. And so it is
Absolutely.
extremely important to heal.
Right. And I think what I'm hearing from that as well, Meeta, is this again, this generation, gets into this phase of, you know what, now my ex is getting married, right? And that
Ah,
in itself feels like a hit on our ego, right? They broke up with me, they moved out, they did this to me, and now how can he or she be happy? How can they move on while I'm still in pain? Right? So
yeah.
this comparison, this competition, this feeling that again something unjust has happened with me, and the
Yeah.
only way I can come back to my power is by, you know, competing with them, right?
Hmm.
So I
Hmm.
think that's again where we all start to go a little wrong. That's where this feeling of revenge comes into play. We get into meaningless relationships, we try having casual relationships which not only actually sink us deeper in that sand,
Yeah. Yeah.
right, but also they also leave a scar on our, I think, on the aspect of love that we all carry as human, right? And I'm
Hmm.
curious, what would you have to say about that, Nita? Because meaningless relationships, having casual relationships sometimes feel good on the surface. They again they act like a band-aid. थोड़ी देर के लिए you feel motivated that I am
Hmm.
back in a relationship. I have an even better looking partner, right?
Correct.
But in the long run, that's just a shell of a relationship. How does that impact one on a personal level and the entire idea of love and intimacy?
Yeah. Yeah. So when you are just putting a band-aid, जैसा आपने
Hmm.
कहा, अगर
Right.
सिर्फ एक बैंडेड सरफेस पे लगा रहे हो
Hmm.
तो वो धीरे धीरे अपनी पकड़ छोड़ देगा. We all know
Hmm.
how a band-aid works, right? Every day the water touches it and it starts becoming loose. It's not going to
Hmm.
be forever.
Yeah.
So any casual relationship जो आप कर रहे हो, it
Hmm.
is very very on the surface.
Hmm.
Firstly, you haven't built an emotional connection in that relationship. You
Absolutely.
just jumped into it. So say your boyfriend left you because you're not, that good looking. So you go
Hmm.
on the search to find a even better looking guy
Hmm.
who's even better looking than the guy that you broke up with. And
Right.
then when you find him, then
Hmm.
you start flashing these social media images and all of that. And just the only thing going on in your mind at that
Hmm.
time is कि हाँ, he did this, he's now getting married, तो अभी मुझे भी better मिल गया है. But is
Hmm.
that really where you want to be? वो तो
Exactly.
सिर्फ ऊपर ऊपर है. That person, have you actually spent time to know that person, to
Hmm.
build the relationship and connection with him?
Hmm.
Have you spent time in getting to know whether your frequencies match, your interests match? What are the common points? What are the negotiables, non-negotiables? In every
Absolutely.
relationship we have that, right? कि हमें क्या चाहिए क्या नहीं चाहिए. आजकल की लड़कियां बहुत ही समझदार है. They know, they think that we are working, तो हमें ये चाहिए, हमें ऐसा घर चाहिए, हमें 4 नौकर चाहिए. घर और 4 नौकर तो चाहिए, पर रिलेशनशिप में क्या चाहिए?
Right.
व्हाट इज इट दैट caused you to break that last relationship? तो उससे आपने क्या सीखा? And
Hmm.
moving forward, what did you learn कि हाँ, okay, in that relationship I maybe you broke it off, maybe the other person didn't break it off,
Yeah.
maybe you broke it off. So why
Hmm.
did you break it off? Maybe because that other person was doing something which was not acceptable to you, which was in
Right.
your non-negotiable list. तो
Hmm.
ऐसी कई बातें होती है which are extremely important for both the parties. And so when you're getting into a relationship, what is intimacy?
Hmm.
Intimacy is a connection that you build with someone
Hmm.
where you don't have to think twice. There is no agenda. You can be yourself. You
Hmm.
trust that person. There is no question about doubting that person. You can be vulnerable and you can just bare yourself, heart,
Right.
soul, and body to that person.
Hmm.
That is
Yeah.
intimacy, you
Yeah.
know. And when you are just going with someone, just किसी को सामने वाले को hurt करने के लिए आप कर रहे हो, you're not doing it
Hmm.
basically to be in that relationship. That is not
Hmm.
your purposes. So
Right.
then it is very superficial. Now it is not going to last long, because
Right.
sooner or later you might be portraying that you like that person or love that person, but that person will
Hmm.
also see through that. They will
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
through your feelings, what is happening, क्या
Hmm.
करे. She's always, why are you sharing so many pictures?
Hmm.
This is a personal moment. Why you? putting that out on social media,
Right.
and
So,
that is not healthy at all.
right. And as you said, I believe it's like a mask that we try to carry, and eventually that mask will fall off someday, right?
Correct.
There will be a time when you will eventually have to deal with all these pent up emotions. So coming back to the idea of revenge, I think a lot of people who come in coaching, they often say that help me reframe this emotional dilemma,
Yeah.
right? And
Hmm.
how reframing works is, of course, you see what's happening and try to find the other possibility, the other side of the coin, right? So I think rather than reacting to a
Hmm.
breakup, rather than reacting to how this emotional turmoil feels, I think it's important to, of course, reflect and respond, right?
Yeah.
Because as soon as we pause for a minute, we think back, we acknowledge that yes, it's sad that this relationship ended. I wish this was my love forever. I wish इन्हीं के साथ आगे की चीजें carry out हुई होती. But it's
Hmm.
okay. I trust that something better is on my way,
Hmm.
right? And I
Hmm.
think in this moment of reflection, Meeta, this is where the healing actually begins, because this is where you
Yeah.
start to look within, you start to prioritize yourself that, you know what,
Yes.
take care, maybe I was not a good fit for them, but I'm still a good person, I'm still a good enough human being, and I deserve love.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Instead of putting yourself down,
Hmm.
see what you can learn.
Right.
Instead of blaming yourself,
Hmm.
see what you can do better.
Hmm.
Instead of criticizing you,
Yeah.
see how you can become worthy of
Hmm.
a person who can love you for what you are. But first,
Absolutely.
become that person.
Yeah.
If you are going to carry revenge, then
Hmm.
I'm sorry, you're not a good person. Because revenge is not a word in the dictionary of any good person.
Hmm.
They will forgive, they will, of course, they hold on to the hurt. I'm not saying that you're not going to hold on to the hurt.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
still might feel hurt. Every
Right.
time, maybe when you think of that person, it
Hmm.
might hurt. But if you have a big heart, where when you think of that person, you instead feel that may that person also be happy. Maybe
Hmm.
we were not meant to be each other, and I also deserve happiness, and so does he or she.
Right.
And so I hope that that person can become happier in life. When you work with this positive state of mind,
Hmm.
then this is also your first step which you're taking towards your own intimacy with yourself, self love,
Hmm.
understanding that I am someone important, I deserve love, and
Hmm.
I'm good, I do everything right.
Hmm.
Do you do everything right? That's the question.
Right. Absolutely. I'm curious, Meeta. I think I want to discuss a little bit of this self-love concept, especially
Sure.
with regards to men, right? So
Hmm.
again, in this millennial age group, a lot of women and men are both interested in personal development. They understand the
Yeah.
role of mental health, right? But it somehow still feels when we talk about self-love, self-care, all of these concepts are a little bit natural to women, but if we
Hmm.
talk to men, they're like, heartbreak ho gaya. So, for them, the easiest thing to do is, of course, get into dating apps, get into alcohol, get back to sometimes they use work as their new addiction, right? They overthrow themselves in work. So, for them, the gradual next step, which is, of course, for us, as we understand, it's that to turn inwards, start working on your own self love. For men it always seems a little bit difficult. So do you advise, or do you have any tips on how can men approach this self love, especially after a heartbreak?
Okay. So, first I'll cover the women. You said that it comes naturally to women, but it doesn't. So,
Right.
for women, when they wake up in the morning and when they look in the mirror, there should be no shame, there should be
Hmm.
no guilt, there should be no revenge, there should
Hmm.
be no hatred,
Yeah.
there should be only love.
Hmm.
And this, this feeling that I want to do good, I want
Hmm.
to be good to my partner, I want to give them a lot of love.
Hmm.
The main problem with the youth of today is this, that they expect the world from their partner. And when
Hmm.
it comes to giving, They give 5%. They want 95% and they give only 5%. They will not look after the house. They don't want to cook. They don't want to look after the kids. They don't want to support their in-laws. They are just हम अपना काम कर रहे हैं हम भी तो थक के आके घर पे आए हैं so what. Even our mom's generation, there were quite a few women who used to work and come home and still look after their homes as well, still be a
Absolutely.
loving wife to their husband as well, still have that intimate connection with their partner as well.
Yeah.
So why is it so, you know, so like demarcated in today's generation? Why is it कि हमको, यही करना है? So that is one problem. So the women also, when they talk about, when they need to understand self-love, it has to be about loving yourself, not degrading yourself in any way, and also doing things which make you feel good. If you
Right.
are wearing a dress, wear it for yourself. If you're putting on makeup, do it for your confidence, not to please someone else. But if you come across as this pretty picture, and you are someone very wicked inside, how is that going to
It's not going to work.
work? Okay, and coming back to the men, I think the men, first and foremost, they need to learn to talk. That is one big aspect of self love. So,
Right.
whatever goes on in their mind, right? They've had a long day at work. Maybe they have some work stresses. Maybe finances are low for some reason. Maybe they are losing a job. Maybe business में loss हुआ है. कुछ भी हो सकता है. But talk to someone. Mostly talk to your partner. If you have a partner who understands, who supports you, who's been there with you,
Right.
then speak to your partner, because then you are letting that emotion out, that tension, that stress जो आप अकेले carry कर रहे हो, you are letting that out, right? So the first thing that they need to do is communicate. Talk to someone. It could even be a parent, it could be friends, it could be reaching out to a coach like you or me, getting the help that you need with wherever you are suffering. That is one very, very important point for self love. The
Yeah.
second is that they can, find ways in which they can try to nurture themselves. So again, it could be meditation. It could be like guys like to do trekking, or they like to go out in nature, or they like to do gardening, or whoever, whatever. So
Yes. True.
have something which is like an outlet for your creativity to flow, because then that rejuvenates you. It gives you that space, that time where you've done something for yourself, and when you come back then to your stressful life again, you are a little bit more charged, you're a little bit more grounded, you'll feel
Absolutely.
more comfortable, because then you'll feel okay, now I'm ready because I've recharged myself. So find some way to recharge your batteries, in short. Like what can you do? Do something which makes you happy, but definitely not alcohol, drugs, and all of
Right.
those things, because they don't recharge you. You'll drink in the night, in the morning you're going to feel all hazy and, oh, what did I say? What did I do? You're
Right.
going to have that hangover, and that's not going to be.
Right.
So these
It
are the
does
two
things
things I would say
opposite.
to start with.
Yeah, and those are excellent tips, Mita, because I'm actually relating this back to an incident which happened with one of my clients. So it's again, it's very easy at this age where you are spending most of your waking time on your phone to get into that loop of once the breakup has happened, let me check on what she's up to, right?
Uh,
Let me see where she's traveling, what she's doing. And unknowingly, what was happening with my client was they were so obsessed with what she is doing
hmm,
that they actually started taking their own life for granted, right? And with what you just said, I think a good way to actually move on and move on in a healthy way would be to come back to yourself and try to figure out what can I do with my this new time. Of course, the relationship is ended. She is moving on. I also have space and time to move on, right?
hmm, hmm.
And
mm,
I remember in one of the sessions, this person told me that as a child, they used to love playing cricket. But बड़े हुए काम आ गया travel करना पड़ता है बहुत सारी चीजें होती हैं and they just forgot their love for cricket. And it
yeah.
was only after their breakup, once they, I asked them that, are you feeling ready to not stalk them and, just remove their Instagram ID from your account? And the
Mm,
week he did that, he said, you know what? अब जितना टाइम मैं फोन पर उसको चेक करता था कि वो क्या कर रही है, मैंने दोस्त बना लिया, अब मैं जाकर गली क्रिकेट खेलता हूँ. Like that's the fantastic way to approach it,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's important. In fact, I would like to ask you that if,
Mhm.
say, you get a client who's like super full of revenge, oh God, this one did this to me, she did that, that was wrong, blah, 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 blah.
Hmm.
How do you start? What do you tell them? And then how do you guide them through this journey, where they can overcome this feeling
Yeah.
and first, start settling down?
Sure. So, Meeta, what I try to do, especially if I see there is this charge of energy in my client, the first thing I like to do is let them vent. Because as you again mentioned, that this is just energy which is not finding a healthy outlet. And in
Hmm.
coaching, that's what we try, right? As coaches, this is the place where we offer safe and confidentiality space,
Hmm.
right? So this is where
Hmm.
the client can come, share what they actually genuinely feel. I encourage them to tell me about what are those feelings. Is this just anger? Is this just revenge? Or is this loneliness? Is this some
Hmm.
fear trying to say that because he or she left you, you are not good enough, you would not find love again, right? Because बहुत easily हमारे limiting beliefs, हमारे fears ऐसे vulnerable moments पे आके हमें question करते हैं, right? So I
Hmm.
let them process what needs to be processed first. And of course, then it's a journey towards their own self. It's a
True.
slow process. I allow them time because that's again something which we have to do. We have to be really patient with ourselves. We should
Yeah.
not expect that a 5-year old or a 10-year-old relationship, it is going to be okay in 2 days. It will take time, right?
Hmm.
So patience comes into play. I also encourage them to do a lot of self-love activities, just as you recommended. Sometimes
Hmm.
it could simply start with few journaling prompts, sometimes with art therapy, so
Hmm.
traveling, anything that actually allows them to spend time with their own self, right?
Correct.
And I love the word that you use, that give them an opportunity to be intimate with their own self, right?
Yes.
Because again,
Yes.
this is this modern era, I would say, a fear कि अभी तक शादी नहीं हुई तो what if I end up alone, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
उससे भी ज्यादा I think now that I'm talking to you, I'm realizing that उससे भी ज्यादा डर ये होना चाहिए कि what if मैंने शादी भी कर लिया and I never got a chance to actually know myself, right?
True.
So being intimate with our own self, spending time with our own feelings, I think that is the most essential step, and that's how I approach my clients and coaching as well.
Hmm. Just adding to that, if
Mm-hmm.
you are intimate with yourself,
Mm-hmm.
if you know what you want
Right.
in terms of all the different aspects, okay,
Hmm.
family, social, personal, professional, and when I say personal, if you know what makes you happy,
Hmm.
then you are in a better position to tell your partner that.
Hmm.
When that happens, then you are also constantly blaming your partner
Hmm.
because your how will your partner understand? They
Right.
don't have any GPS in their mind कि हाँ भाई समझ
Right.
में आ जाएगा कौन से रूट पे जाना है अभी डाल
Hmm.
दिया डेस्टिनेशन और पहुंच जाएंगे ऐसा तो होगा
Hmm.
नहीं. So when you know, when you are kind to yourself, then you also learn to reflect all those feelings onto your partner.
Hmm.
And that is the first step of intimacy. Intimacy is where you can talk to each other openly, where you
Hmm.
also listen actively,
Hmm.
where you don't judge, where it is an open communication, where
Right.
you can be vulnerable without putting your guard on,
Hmm.
where you can just be yourself, all layers open. And
Right.
that is what happens in an intimate relationship when you actually have that kind of a bond with someone.
Hmm.
then the layers are constantly being opened. Because
Hmm.
the more time you are spending with that person,
Yeah.
the more you are getting to know them, they are getting to know you, and the more things come out in the open. But everything cannot be predictable, and keep that element of surprise in your relationship. Don't make everything predictable. When
Hmm.
that happens, then there is a lot of excitement. Try
Hmm.
new things, explore new things about yourself. Maybe start something new, maybe which both of you wanted to do and you've never done because of busy lives or whatever it has been. So you make an effort.
Hmm.
So when you are totally focused on yourself and you are working on healing yourself, you are
Hmm.
doing things, you are doing activities, you are journaling, you are making note of
Hmm.
what it is, then it can be a very positive way of looking at it. And then revenge will go out of the window.
Hmm.
And why do you want to hurt it? You are hurting yourself ना by keeping track of that person. अरे वो क्या
Absolutely.
कर रही है, अरे वो कहाँ जा रही है, अच्छा वो किससे मिल रही है, who are her new friends. Why?
Hmm.
I would say just completely disconnect. There are two ways to do it. One is completely disconnect, one is make another friend.
Hmm.
If
I
you
like
have it
that.
in your heart, if you have it in your heart that you can break up with someone and then make that person into a friend,
Hmm.
then nothing like it. Because you both have shared a bond where you all got to know each other intimately, personally.
Right.
So you could be very good friends where you could say, अरे यार तू हमेशा ऐसे ही करता है, तू ऐसे
Hmm.
मत किया कर. Don't do this again, you'll hurt yourself.
Hmm.
Instead of doing that,
Hmm.
if you can really have the heart to be friends with your ex,
Hmm.
it can be really beautiful. It can be very
Right.
empowering, you
Yeah.
know. It can be very interesting because then
Hmm.
you will become the go-to person for that friend. I mean, he will want to reach out to you. "Arey yaar, she knows me the best.
Hmm.
She knows. We had a relationship also, it didn't work out for whatever reason, but she knows
Right.
a lot about me." Because
Right.
you need to start focusing on your life.
Hmm. Right, and I think one addition to this is the complexity again of a millennial, that sometimes people find love in the same office, right? So now,
Ah,
even if you're not dating, even if you've broken up, even though you are going through an emotional problem, you still see them at work every day, right?
yeah,
So I had a few clients who were going through something similar, and I think one thing, like a very simple hand of rule, would be try having love relationships in your workplace, first of all. But of
mm,
course, love doesn't know any boundaries. If this has happened, I think a really good step, and again, this comes from a place of maturity and practice,
mm,
that once you are out of that relationship, start respecting each other as professionals
correct.
and try to understand that, okay, this is where I need to compartmentalize,
Yeah,
right? And of course, there will be days when it's overwhelming to see them, it's overwhelming to be around them, communicate, but not, be close to them. I think those are the days again where you go back, reflect, and rather than reacting to what's happening, just take a moment for yourself and remind yourself why you did what you did, and how this breakup is not a, it's not something which is pushing you down, it's actually a stepping stone to a healthier relationship. I think this is one of those reframes which I believe is really, really healthy, that rather than thinking, "Okay, this is the end of my world, I'm not going to find someone else," think of it as something which is now my experience, and now I'm
mm,
going to use this lesson to find a better partner for myself. We have to reframe this, because again, I wish there was a manual given to us at birth. Ki this is how you need to operate life. This is how you're supposed to do adulting. This is how you're supposed to fall in love. But since we don't have that, I think we all need to be a little kinder to ourselves and be open to making mistakes, because we are
yes,
humans.
yes, yes, absolutely. We all make mistakes. No one who is human cannot, I mean, will not make a mistake.
I'm connecting this back to the idea of revenge and the idea of how some people, I think, I don't know whether it's I'm still thinking whether it's a positive thing or a negative thing. But some people get into this mode of, now that I've broken up again, the wounded ego sometimes feel कि शायद इसलिए breakup हुआ है because I'm not sexy enough. I am not, good looking enough. Right? And they throw themselves into the revenge body mode, which is where they start excessive gymming, they turn their lifestyle around, they do a lot of shopping, they do a lot of treatments, which I feel on one surface level, it's good. You are doing something for yourself, you are doing it productively, it's good. But again, that's something which should happen in a moderation, because जितना आप excessive revenge body की तरफ भी जा रहे हो, you're putting all of that hurt, all of that pressure on this gentle, fragile human body, which is going to evolve as we age, right? It's okay. Like, again, this is again a challenge for millennial women. Women who work, women who are in stressful jobs, hormonal imbalances will happen, hair fall issues will happen. You will have good days, you'll have bad days, you will have, your body will keep on changing. So do not let the pressure of revenge make you suffer on your body levels, right? Anything you would like to add on that, Mita?
I would like to say that your body is constantly listening to you. Okay? This is something which the youth do not know and they do not learn. No one tells us this.
Right.
But as you are growing, also remember that you are nothing without your body. The day
Absolutely.
you are sick, what happens to you? When your
Mm.
body starts failing, your mind also starts failing. Then you feel low, you feel depressed, you just want to be in bed, you just want to rest.
Right.
So your body is constantly listening to you. And if
Mm.
you do this revenge game,
Mm.
where you are actually troubling your own body
Mm.
for the sake of revenge or just getting into shape, I want to do it faster,
Mm.
your body will there will be a repulsive action by the body. You'll either fall very sick,
Yeah.
or you will injure yourself, or mentally you will break down. Somewhere
Mm.
the body will fight back.
Right.
This is something which I talk extensively in my sexuality course with women. You know that women do not listen to their body, and it applies to the men as well. They
Mm.
also get signs. That's where performance anxiety, ed, all these things happen when they are not listening to their body, right?
Mm.
So when you are doing this, your body is suffering and you are actually making your best friend suffer.
Mm.
Your body is
True.
your best friend. What are
Mm.
you without your body? So instead of getting into this revenge mode with your body,
Mm.
ask your body, what does it want?
Mm.
Okay, maybe you got rejected because you are maybe not that fit, you have extra 10 kgs.
Mm.
Okay, but your body maybe needs 6 months to lose that.
Right.
There are bodies which will lose it in 2 months. There are bodies which will lose it in 1 month. There are bodies which will need 3 months.
Right.
But have you actually listened to your body on a
Mm.
constant, in a constant manner? Are you listening every day to what your body is trying to tell you?
Mm.
Pain is a sign that your body is giving you.
Right.
Stress is a sign.
Right.
How much are you listening to it? While if you
Mm.
just throw yourself into the gym completely, हाँ मुझे फटाफट फटाफट एक महीने में एकदम फिट फाट होके I have to get ready for dating.
Right.
जितना जल्दी body has given you that shape, उतना ही जल्दी it will wear it off also.
Mm. That happens with a lot of people. That happens. They immediately gain weight after they have gone through this frenzy of gym. Right.
Because they did not apply the science of the body. The body needs its own time to get used to certain things, fall into that weight, get
Mm.
accustomed to what you're doing. Even when you start doing yoga, say for example, for
Mm-hmm.
a few days your body is going to hurt, it's
Right.
going to pain, because you're doing something new, you're moving parts of your body which you've never moved. So the
Right.
body is used to that. But
Hmm.
now when you're doing something new, the
Yeah.
body will adjust to it, because if you're
Hmm.
doing it in the right manner. But if you're doing it in the wrong manner, then your body will pain more.
Right.
That will also happen. So
Hmm.
always listen to your body and don't punish your body, because your body is your best friend.
Hmm. I like that.
Without your body, you're nothing. You're just ash. So
True.
don't make yourself suffer. And इस
Hmm.
बॉडी को मत दो दुख, क्योंकि वो तो आपके साथ 24 घंटे रहती है.
Right.
She
Right.
is with you all the time, all
I
the
like
time.
that. I like that. And I'm actually using this as a metaphor for our discussion today. And I'm thinking that this idea of not punishing our own self, again, that person may have left for whatever reason. And even if they gave us this reason that you're not good enough for me because you look a certain way, I think it's unfair for us to then treat ourselves badly about it, right? Because
Yes.
I think every person is beautiful in whatever shape, whatever capacity, with all their flaws, right? So I think rather than punishing, listen to your body, listen to your
Yes.
soul, listen to your heart in those moments, and realize that it's okay. Maybe I'm not good for them, but I'm still good
Hmm.
enough.
Hmm. Sometimes you break up from one relationship
Hmm.
and your second relationship turns out to be the best in life.
Hmm. Hmm.
That person loves you, you're so happy, and then at that time, you feel, oh, great, I broke off with that person.
Right.
I wouldn't have been so happy with him or her.
So,
This happens so often. But if you just close your mind, if that person closes their heart and mind and says, no, now this person broke me, hurt me, and now I'm
hmm.
not going to
Right.
fall in love again, give another chance to anyone,
Hmm.
then that will never happen.
Right.
Sometimes it could even be the third relationship, because in today's world there are, I think, more than three.
Absolutely. You keep giving yourself chances till you find the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But building an emotional connection with one person takes a lot of time, effort, and it
Hmm.
is a continuous effort. It doesn't
Hmm.
stop on one day. Just like
Right.
when you put a plant, you have to water it every day.
Hmm.
Your intimacy and your relationships need that water every day, also. That water of love, understanding, communication.
Yes.
Extremely important. With the youth of today, also, this is a challenge. They stop communicating. Oh, you
Hmm.
hurt me, get lost, all
Hmm.
doors are shut. When
Hmm.
you don't speak to each other, when you don't resolve the problems, how is it going to, become better?
Right.
So my message to the youth today would be, when a conflict happens,
Hmm.
calm yourself down. Okay, you might be angry, you might say things, whatever. That's gone.
Yeah.
You fought in the morning, settle down, calm yourself at night or the next day, whenever you both are calm and you both are in a neutral atmosphere where you can have a conversation, sit down and talk about that problem. Stick to that problem, don't go to the past, discuss that, work towards solution, resolve it, and move on. This is the best tip and suggestion that I can give for the youth, because this is where they falter. You don't talk, you let that problem, linger on, it
Right.
becomes bigger, it becomes bigger, and then at one point you realize, oh, it cannot be solved anymore.
Hmm.
And that happens a lot. So this is very important, that when you go through something, the first instance where something happens, discuss it.
Hmm.
Work from a mindset of, growth, resolution,
Right.
and then you will be able to move forward.
Absolutely. I think
So
I'll
what's
just
your message for the
yeah.
youth?
I think we've discussed a very big problem today. So I think when it comes to revenge, the way I look at it is I think the best revenge in any such circumstance would be you falling in love with yourself so much that you level up as a person. Right. So the next time your ex sees you or your ex partner comes, they're like they can't even recognize you because you're so much better, so much happier, and so aligned with who you are that you will automatically attract better love in your life. So I think that's a better way to approach revenge rather than, walking the path of suffering. So I think that's my 2 cents for our audience today.
Yeah, that's so empowering that you become this person that even that person who broke off with you will might regret it and say that, oh God, what did I do? I lost a gem.
Exactly. Exactly. If not anything, at least they should feel a little bit of FOMO that, oh, wow, look at this person. She's just a new person altogether.
Yeah, yeah. But then she should remember that that happened because he broke up.
Exactly.
So it's
Exactly.
a journey. You're constantly
Hmm.
evolving. And so you never stop learning and never stop moving forward. That is, I think, important and crucial.
Absolutely. And I think the fact that I'm so honored that we talked about this. This is a safe space for people to actually listen and talk about such important topics, which again, our society expects कि ये सारी चीजें by default सबको पता होनी चाहिए. Nobody actually
Hmm.
talks about it. So I
Hmm.
think this platform in itself, I believe, is a very good medium for people to realize that relationships do not come with a manual. It's an ever evolving process which requires effort. So if
Yes.
you are in a bad relationship, if you are suffering, please don't think that it's a feeling that will just go away. Seek help. Reach out to people around you, reach out to coaches, therapists, whosoever you need, because we all deserve love, and I think we all are love in some format. So let's be open to embrace that love, be open to welcoming new love in our life, because I think in the long term, hurt will eventually become just a scar, a story, but it's the passion in life which will help you continue. So yeah, just keep working on yourself. That's sorry, another message which just came automatically.
No problem. The youth needs it. We can give them as many messages as possible because they need every bit of this. And I hope that this empowers them. They learn something from this and they learn to, move on and not stick to this negativity. Anything that you hold on to is negative.
Right.
Anything that you let go of is going to release you from, that burden. And so, with that, shall we end our discussion?
Absolutely. Thank you so much once again, Nita, for having me. This was such an interesting topic and a wonderful chat.
And I would
Absolutely.
encourage all the youth out there to share this episode with whoever they think they can, and it might be helpful to someone who's maybe coming out of a relationship or going into a relationship also. It
Hmm.
can help you to learn a few things as we both spoke. So that's the
Absolutely.
message that we would like to leave with. So thank you, Jas, again for joining me. It was
Thank you.
lovely having you. And
Thank you
let's
so
do this again some other time soon.
much. Sure, sure, Nita. Thank you so much once again.
So that was Jas, and I hope that today's episode was helpful to you. Revenge is not a good thing. It's like a sword, which will cut you only. So look at life in a more positive manner. Revenge is not going to take you anywhere. It's not going to help you in any way. It can only damage both the people who are in it. But let go, forgive, love yourself, be kind to yourself, and remember that there is so much more to life. And give life another chance, a second chance, where you never know, you might be more happier than you thought. But go with a positive state of mind, solve your issues, learn from your previous engagements or relationships, whatever it is, to carry forward and just go with this feeling of love. And when there is love, anything can be healed. That's what I believe. So thank you for joining us today and listening to us. Do hit that subscribe button, share this episode with as many people as you can, and I hope that it becomes a beautiful journey for you as you heal from any heartbreak that you're going through.